Hello, hello. Good afternoon. Thought I'd come on and provide an update here for the starting off this week. I've had an opportunity to add some more players to the file, and I had a chance to take a look at some of the recent ones that I built. And I've provided a couple folks in the community. I know Arnold Hunter and MV have a file from about a week ago or so to kind of do some play testing for me, give me any bit of feedback in that. I've also sent a file I think last Friday to Beatles Eternally to use on that site. So I know he's wrapping up the Dead Ball Ned McGreevy project, or it's coming close to an end. And he was worried a little bit about, trying to defer to me and let me have some of the play time for the file. But I'm like, oh no, I'm too busy creating this stuff. It would be wonderful if Beatles was able to take that file and do some broadcasts and show it off and, let people enjoy it and do some testing or provide feedback along the way. So hopefully Beatles is watching this, and I've sent him that file. I think it was last Friday. Feel free to use it and display it and enjoy it. It would be doing me a big favor. um, I'm going to have to stop and maybe do some more games just to test it out and have fun. What I'm finding is it's hard to pull away and do some of that testing because I'm thinking, okay, let's just keep grinding. Let's get some more players out. I'm up to, I think it's over 340 now, as I am venturing into what I think will be somewhere between 5 and 600. That right now is where I think I'm going to end up. Again, I haven't done a master list to really figure out what all I've got to work on, but I think I'm going to be over 500 for sure. Got Julio Rojo up here. I just finished him uh, during my lunch today. So as you can see, he's a catcher. What I did is I find myself venturing off and building some of these players, just based on position. I added a bunch of pitchers recently in the last week. In fact, I'll pull that list up and I can share. We'll see if anybody joins live today, if anybody's free. I did a run of probably about, I'll say about 15 or so pitchers in a row. And sometimes those pitchers played fielding positions as well. But some earlier ones that were really active in the Cuban leagues, some of the names that come to mind, like Angel de Mesa, Salvador Rosado, some other ones like Ad Lankford, Candido Fontanals, Lico Maderos, Charles Doherty, Cy Heyman, William Ross, all day. So these were some really fun ones to do. What I was focusing on are the ones, between about 1900 and 1920. And I narrowed my search down for those and I've made a pretty good progress. What I'll be doing now is I'm focusing on catchers. So I'm going to build a bunch of catchers here. You can see I'll go search by the war and then I'll assign just catchers. And I'm kind of going down the all-time war list here. And I believe I have everything built. I just built Eufemio Abreu. I got Joe Green, I think Larry Brown, Clarence Palm. Here's one here that I'll have to take a look at for these 2 years and see if I've got enough for a third year. I've got these two, Tommy Dukes. So I've kind of worked my way down here. I think Pete Booker. Let me double check, see if I've got Pete Booker. I don't, so I'm going to put him on my list next to do. So the next one I'll do here is Pete Booker. So you can see if you look just by war, I'm working my way down this list, getting a lot of these folks built. And I'll just keep cranking them out. One of the things that I can also do is sometimes I'll come over here by plate appearances, and there might be some more average ones here that maybe even have a little bit of a negative war or somewhere close to break even. And I'll kind of look at these people with significant play time. All of these look to be the same ones that I've built. Although here's a player that played for a lot of years, but as you can see here, didn't have much offense, and that's Bob Clark, so I'm going to add him to my list too. So this is how I entertain myself as I come through here and figure out, okay, who's next to do? Okay, I'm going to go work on pitchers, or I'll go work on catchers. Okay, let me look at the list and see who I can work on. Or, hey, let me just narrow it down from like 1900 to 1920. So no real rhyme or reason. It's whatever entertains me. Vicente Rodriguez, here's another one I can add. So I'll get myself a list of um, some catchers here that I can work on over the next few days and see what kind of traction I can get on making a little progress. So my estimated date, I'm sitting here thinking, I still think if I give myself by the end of April, I think I can be in that, what I want to call the first milestone of being done with this project. I call it phase one, where we've got enough players to have about 22 per team and have anywhere from 20 to 24 teams for a draft league. So that's going to require me to get over 500 players and make sure that I've got, the positions represented and, enough pitchers. If I want to have 10 pitchers on a team at least, that's going to mean I'm going to need at least probably 250-ish pitchers. So let's see if I'm overestimating my ability to crank some of these out. I have had some, of course, some life projects popping in my full-time work and different things like that that have limited in the last couple of weeks some of my free time. The cool thing I am noticing is I am getting really efficient with all the charts I have up and all my formulas. I'm getting really more streamlined and faster in creating them, so that's helpful. Um, but at the same time, I'm getting more efficient and a little bit quicker, and I've got the system down. I am running into issues where I don't have as much free time. So, and I just thought, hey, I'll come on today, see if anybody's out there to chat a little bit and take a little break and kind of stop. It helps me when I fire up the file, which I will here in a minute, and take a look at it on these broadcasts because it forces me to maybe search around and look for some anomalies to see if I've got any editing to do or I've misplaced something or some of the numbers look off. And as I'm looking through here, I'm trying to think what else we have here. Russell Powell, another catcher. So I'm making notes to myself over here. So now I got Pete Booker, Bob Clark, Vicente Rodriguez, and Russell Powell all ready to go. They have a significant amount of plate appearances up here, although they may not have the highest total WAR. They'll be the next ones I look at. It's another one here. Willie Jones, Pepper Daniels. And I'm just making note to myself here so I won't forget. Cool. So that gives me about 6 I can work on here in the coming days. I'm going to focus on catchers, see how far down this list I can go. If I sort it by WAR, we can see that some down here with small amount of plate appearances, but very nice. Now, also, as I've said, I think every time I broadcast, those 300 and some that I've got done, I do also have photos done for them. I think I've only got 2 players so far where I could not find a photo. So that's pretty good. It's probably better than I thought it was going to be. Some of them aren't the best photos, so I'm using my gigapixel and trying to run them through some enhancing programs and make them look as good as I can because the goal is to have these done and have the accompanying photo pack to go along with it. So now let me take a look at, oh, wrong baseball program, Steve. firing up APBA baseball for Windows here. Let's fire up a little action. Take a look at the latest file. So let's go right to the database. Search all players. And I know when some of the folks come on here, like MV and Big Clue and some of the others, they're always asking for any surprises. So, hey, Aaron Reed, the man of 1,000 voices. Glad you can join me. Yeah, just talking some baseball, Aaron. Trying to just another weekly update, I guess, on the Negro League file. I sent a file Friday to Beatles. I think he has it, and um, I told him, hey, you don't wait for me to run something on my channel because I'm still cranking out players. I would love it if Beatles would fire it up and maybe do some test games or do anything he wants on his channel to kind of highlight it, test it out, give me any feedback, hype it up, get everybody excited because I'm shooting for the end of April. So it's going to give me about 6 to 7 weeks here to see if I can get over that 500 range. I mean, right now, what am I at? I think I'm over 340. I'm at 344. Um, so I'm creeping along, baby steps. And just trying to think about some of the players. I'm going to um, sort this list here by average. Looking at all players here. Trying to think if there's any new people. I've had some players that I've done that I didn't even know who these folks were, and they popped right up into the over 300 category, and turned out they were pretty good. Let's take a look. Irvin Brooks. I think there was a couple as I scroll through here. No, I'm not seeing them. Maybe it was just above 300. Julio Rojo, who I just created right before I came on this broadcast. 302 hitter. He's a catcher. That's somebody I hadn't heard of before. Decent player. Then if I search pitchers, let me take a look at the pitchers and see what we've got going on, because people that can pitch. So far where I'm at, I have 136 players that can pitch some innings. Now, if I change my search criteria and just say, let's look at pitchers, expanded pitching, and then I'll go just search it by innings pitched. Let me do pitching minimum. Let me say, hey, at least 50 innings, right? If I do that, I've got 132 players that can go at least 50 innings. So I would call those real pitchers. Um, Let me see. So I'm probably gonna need about 240-ish, I think, total, or 220 to 240 total pitchers for this file. So we'll start getting into some of the pitchers that get beat up a little bit, right? That are right around that average mark or maybe just a hair below. That's always interesting to me. There's several new ones that I've put in here that I never knew, but it's always fun doing the research and crunching the numbers for them. We just search by ERA, see who's got the highest ERA so far. Let's go backwards. I got somebody in here with a 4.71 ERA, Harry Kenyon, Armando Torres, Goose Curry, and I click on them. It's hard to tell in isolation, but you can see their OPS is a little low 87, pitching 91. So hundreds average on an ERA plus. So these folks are just under average. Um, Armando Torres really could get beat up. The Alex Smith, but Cocaina Garcia, Mr. Cocaine Garcia. So I've got some in here that I would call, kind of average to maybe just a hair below, but most of the good ones are really done. But there's been a few other good ones that I've found as I've gone through. So it's been interesting to say the least. And let me go look at all players. I'll highlight a couple that I've done here, get them in alphabetical order, and take a peek at some of these. Kind of a sneak peek of pitchers that we'll get to see. Glover and Jonas Gaines are two of them. So I got Tom Glover right here and Jonas Gaines. Jonas Gaines, take a look how that ERA plus, really good pitcher. There's another person I'd never heard of, two-time All-Star, had an outstanding screwball. This guy, great clutch rating, but you can see for as many people as he lets on and walks, he's still got a real competitive ERA. So that's kind of why you see that 10 clutch rating. The other one, Tom Glover. He's a left-handed pitcher, hard thrower, fastball pitcher. You can see here again above average. So there are still some players as I go down this list that may not have super high career WARs, but maybe they played 4 or 5 years and they've got a couple really good years. So since I'm using an average of 3, they have a pretty good card when it comes out to the game. So this has been fun to really. I'm having as much fun drilling deep into this list and learning about these players as I was crunching the numbers for some of the more well-known, like the Josh Gibsons and Joe Williams and Rube Foster. I think in many ways I've kind of enjoyed as we drill down deeper and deeper. It becomes entertaining. Cy Heyman, here's another picture that I've done here. You can see some of these. You can see, look, he's got a 2.9 ERA. You'd say, wow, he's really good. But his ERA plus is a little low. And it's a little low because that ERA for 1909 is a below average. So I've mentioned this a couple times as I've done some previous updates. To me, it's always interesting once we get everything moved over, get them assigned to the years and crunch the numbers to be able to drop them back in the game and take a look at them in the context of a 1909 National Major League to see what they all look like. Some other pitchers, Ad Langford. Let me pull him up. This was another one that I had no knowledge of before, Ad Langford. And again, you won't see photos. I haven't dropped the updated photos into this test file yet. We can see here he's below average, right? He's got a 2.95 ERA. Like, oh, that's not bad. But if you look at it back then, that's still a little bit above average, right? Who else we got that we've added? I would say Angel de Mesa is another one. And here he is with a 3 ERA, and you can see he's just a hair below average. Signed in 1904, your Cuban pitcher, pitched for a lot of different Cuban ball clubs. He's a righty. Who else do we have that we've done? Salvador Rosado. Let's go take a look at him. These are some of the pitchers that I've done just in the last weekend. There he is, Salvador Rosado. And I did some players that were like pre-1920. got interested one day and said, hey, let me go really search and drill down there. So here we can see not much information on him other than he was a Cuban ball player and he played for several teams from that time span. If we look here, you can see he's got 2.08 ERA, a 157. This guy has some great numbers there, even for that time frame. And we've got Rosado, we've got Lico Maderos. Going the wrong way here. Another 131 ERA, another good pitcher. Let's see, we got a lefty in Charles Doherty. That's another one that I just recently added. Above average pitcher. It's got a 2.7 ERA, 2.7 ERA, but 1911, doing good. Hey, 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 world's worst gamer is here. I am still having fun. So much fun, I decided to just fire up a chat and see who was going to show up. And just going through some of the players, world's worst gamer that I had uh, recently done. I sent Beatles a file on Friday so that he could start playing, doing whatever he wants on his channel, testing. Doesn't have to wait for me to broadcast. In fact, who knows when I'm going to be broadcasting games because I'm so kind of I'm heads down if I have free time cranking out players, but had some interesting ones that I've created here as I drill down the list, learning more about some of the more marginal players, and I'm still finding good ones along the way. And that's what I'm talking about here. William Ross, another player. Nakadochis was his nickname. So here we go. A little above average pitcher, 3.94 ERA, William Ross. So I am enjoying the project, yes, and having a lot of fun with it. I will say, and I'm putting together a list. I thought I'd come out a little bit as I started to compile who I'm going to build next. So I fired up our the seam heads, and let's go to that. And what I've done is just gone to catchers, and I've organized it by war and making sure I think I've got every catcher built down here, way deep. There's a couple here that I may have to add. And I'm just making sure I'm going down here and getting any significant players and putting them on my list, trying to work my way all the way down here. So I'll still have quite a few to go. There's a couple ways I search. I look at the war, and then I also look at, hey, if they've got a lot of plate appearances, sometimes they might be negative. Maybe they're an average fielder, a little above average, but their hitting was so bad, right? Pretty much a defensive catcher. But these are all people that I will be building right here. Torres, Otto Ray, Eugenio Morin, and then some of these I've already done. I think Loudon's done. So this gives me a bunch to work through here. So I'm going to spend some time, uh, probably in the next few days. The ones I'm going to go catchers. I realized I hadn't gone as deep on this list. So here's Subby Bias. I'll end up creating him. So that'll be fun. Who do I do next, right? That's always what I'm worried about. Pictures, I am still going to town on all of these. So I've got a lot of pictures. So all the players I've done, I've got 344 done. They all have photographs except for two. And those two are still those placeholders I showed off before. Even if they've got a bad photo, I try to enhance it as much. But like here's John Barnes, for example. And I'm just using this. He's pretty much a catcher, so I'm using these placeholders for him. So I've had a chance to get some photos, some like clip art, silhouettes, whatever we're going to call these, and put them in here. So that's worked out fine. So the photo packs have been, it adds time, but it's fun. So let me pull up a couple of those and maybe, oh, close that window down. I can show off what some of these look like. Let me pull them all up. Just when I was going to show them off, I closed it out. So here we go. So I've got those, and I know some of you, I haven't done anything because I'm really just focused on how fast can I get this to what I call phase one, right? 500-600 players, where it's just a pretty expansive file to have fun with, one that's big enough to have 20 to 24 draft teams and have a blast with, and then maybe there's a phase two where I build that out to 600, 700, 800. I don't know how many total players there might be in the ultimate end, or if there's even an appetite for people to want to go that deep, right? Once we have a decent file to work with here, I think it's going to be 550ish to 600 players when I'm done with phase one. But then part two is then I got to pivot over to do the MLB grades using the same three best year approach and all that good stuff. And so I have pictures for all of those too. So a lot of these players, I think I've got about 50 of them done just so I can have a good test group to play against some of the all-time greats between both leagues. You can see here some of these players I'm colorizing, like Ernie Lombardi here. I haven't put a template around him yet, but I've Babe Ruth up here. I've got some photos I've pulled down that I'm going to use. Just haven't put it in the template yet. But that will be so right when I'm thinking, oh, I'll take a break. I'll have fun and go do something else when I'm done with this file. And I'm thinking it's going to be the end of April. I can have 500 to 600 done. I think I can make that easily. We'll see. I'm like, oh gosh, now I can't rest because now I got to go back over and then start work on cranking out the all-time MLB file with the same 3 years. So every time I think I'm done, I just keep, well, there's more to do. So yeah, a lot of the pictures, as you can see, some of them aren't the best quality. Here's one for Candido Fontanals. Not the best, but hey, I'm able to take what's available, use gigapixel, try to enhance it, maybe add a little bit of color, and hey, this is what we've got to go with, right? So, you know, I'm happy with it. I think it's going to add a lot to the game, having the bio information that I'm putting in on each one of these players, and then having a photo for some of them. Some of these other ones that played Cuban ball are tough, and there's some of these old photos that are hard to find good ones here, like Emilio Palomino. But hey, they are what they are, right? I'm lucky we've got some free software out there with the gigapixel and this IMG to go where it lets me at least enhance it a little bit and add some kind of color on them. So I'm liking how they're turning out. Right, here's another one. Here's my Emery Adams, who I have a placeholder silhouette because I wasn't able to find a picture of him. So this will be the big cleanup, right? When maybe I'm done with that 500 or 600, I'll start looking at little players to add now and then and maybe going back and trying to see if I can fill in information that wasn't there. Keep watching seam heads because at different intervals as they add more information, it could come a time where I need to go back and maybe revisit or tweak some of the MLEs and formulas that I've used to come up with their stat lines. So that will, it's just add it to the list, add it to the list. More projects. So just a brief check-in today, sharing some of the fun stuff I'm working on. I do hope, hey, and if Aaron's out there or World's Worst Gamer, I haven't been in the evenings. I've been kind of tied up and haven't been able to hop on some of the Ned McGreevy stuff. But hey, tell Beatles to open his email, get those the Negro League file I sent him last Friday, and have fun playing it. And he's got my full permission to show that off, put it on his channel. If we wait for me to start showing it off and putting it on my channel, we'll be waiting a long time because I'm really torn when I get free time. Um, I'm wanting to go in and spend more time just getting the players done, right? So we can get a good file done sooner rather than later. So I'd love for him to get on there, test it off, show it off, hype it up, get people excited about it, gets extra set of eyes on it. People have already been great at giving me players, like throwing some players out, and then they'd like to see, and then I move them up to my priority list. That's great. I've got Arnold Hunter and MV both testing some stuff out, and if somebody sees any errors on there, hey, this number looks a little wonky or whatever, it's just great. So thanks, World's Worst Gamer. Tell Beatles, hey, fire that thing up. He doesn't have to wait for me. He's got my full permission to broadcast it, play with it, show it off, have fun with it. And then I'll just keep cranking out players when I get a chance. In between life, a little bit, real work, trying to enjoy myself. The other thing I will say, I know Beatles was talking about this. I just purchased, I had my family come out and visit. I had some of my grandkids here, a PS5. I had a 4 for a long time, and I did a little bit of experimentation with MLB The Show 21, but Legend Sports Universe has really inspired me with a lot of the cool stuff he's doing. And the game looks so awesome on the PS system, that MLB The Show. God, I wish it was on PC, but it's not. So now I'm thinking, gosh, when the new MLB The Show comes out, they've got some Negro League players on there. It looks gorgeous. The gameplay's fun. Legends has put together those great franchise files. I'm like, as if I don't have enough to do. Gosh, do I venture off and start enjoying, MLB The Show? And I'm like, well, I've got the PS5, so why not, right? I mean, and I'm thinking, gosh, how hard is it to homebrew on that? I'm gonna have to learn, whole nother system using the joystick or whatever. But it's such a good looking game, and then being able to have some of the legend players and just the graphics of the game and watching the game play is interesting. I'm going to be excited to see how his league turns out as far as accuracy, like historical, because it's a little different. It's very much like out of the park baseball with their sim engine. You've got the kind of like you're looking at potential and everybody's kind of coming on at the same age. It's not like you've really got them at a certain time. So I definitely have to learn a whole new system and figure out how you would rate somebody using ratings and have formulas to be able to take batting average and slugging percentage and doubles and triples and have that equate over there to a rating up to a 99 or a 100 scale that they use. So it's intriguing because I love that stuff, but I'm like, oh gosh, I know how to do this in action. I can do all the converting and put it into raw numbers and then do my ratings. It's a 0 to 10 scale. It's easy, but gosh, how would I approach it if I was to venture off into another rabbit hole, which is home brewing on PS5, or I just take advantage of the wonderful people like Legends that create some of these cool like all-time franchise files and then just download it and have fun with that on the PS5. That's another option where maybe I just take advantage of people who've done hard work like him and then just sit back and have fun. That to me, that's a great um, sim to sit back and watch the game take place, right? Where I don't have to get in here and be the joystick jockey and try to outdo somebody because I can hit buttons faster. Um, yeah, and that World's War game is a true sim on console. Yeah, I agree with you. It's man, how I could take like an action, PC baseball, like kind of the, I guess the statistical accuracy and those player ratings behind it, and then have it once the game decides, okay, here's the batter pitcher matchup, have that engine display the outcomes. That to me, that's the best of both worlds. And I don't know enough about the PS5 and how the show plays out, like how realistic, um, like a historical teams would do. So I'm sure I'll learn along as I follow what Legends is doing. And I agree with you. You know, the one thing that intrigues me a little too, is kind of blending both worlds a little bit, is out of the park baseball. Um, but then again, I don't know. That one's so tough because rather than like a season, historical season, or what I love, which are slices, right? And that's basically what I'm doing with the Negro League. I'm taking my own slice instead of it being like 2 years or 3 years in a row or a career. I'm just grabbing the three best during their career and then using that as my slice, right? That's the stuff I love. Out of the park baseball was a great game. I still don't think it's really set up to be a good tool for some of the things I do. And to me, that would be a good enhancement where, you know, because again, you're trying to get their ratings and potential versus just saying, hey, here's a stat line. I can do all my work on the outside and say, hey, here's their best 3 years average. Let's neutralize it, ballpark affect it, all that good stuff. Now here's the line and put it in the game and then let that kind of dictate their capability then and there. But those other games, it's always about kind of ratings and future and potential, and it's hard to mix the two together. So I guess that's why we have all these games, because there's not one that meets the need. And I agree, man. If they had it, I'd pay good money for download content as well too. Let's see here, 1900 to 1909. This is a tough era right here because what have I got? I've got 29 total players that I've built from those early years that are right here. Click on the notes. This guy right here, interesting guy. Top Cuban shortstop. John McGraw called him the perfect shortstop. He was nicknamed the Eel. Luis Bustamante. Let's see what his fielding rating came out to. Yeah, he's an 8 at shortstop, so I don't know why John McGraw loved him. His OPS is still 119, so he's above average hitter, even though he's at 274. It's just kind of interesting. Sometimes it's been a while since I've created him, and I forgot what um, stuff I've looked up. A good hitter, slick fielder, known for showboating and trash talk, Bill Monroe. Real good fielder. So he's high at second, third, and short. So it's kind of fun. So I come on here and start talking and showing stuff off, and I'll look here and I'll see misspellings that I need to go back in here and correct. I might see numbers here that are out of whack that lets me know that I got something in error. But I've been really going, even though I'm going faster, I'm stopping and doing specific projects at different things at different points of this project. So I'm one of the things I'll do is I'll identify the name. I'll then look for I'll get my photos downloaded and colorized first. Then I'll figure out, what years I'm going to use. Then I'll go and see if we've got the MLEs available. And I'm crossing my fingers like, oh, please let there be one, because if it's not, then I've got to crunch those numbers, and it takes a little bit longer. Then I'll get their batting lines done. Then I'll go get their fielding lines done, and that's just for batters. For pitchers, it's a little more time consuming because they're all going to bat, and then it's a matter of doing all their pitching numbers as well. So pitchers take a little bit longer. And that's why I noticed I'd gotten away from doing pitchers, and I went back and cranked a bunch out this weekend because I thought, yeah, I need to catch up on pitchers a little bit. In fact, let's look at seam heads. I can see where if we go down and take a look at, and what's interesting with pitchers too, we can say, let's just pick pitchers between like 1900 and say 1919, and we can look through here for the WAR rating, and I can just come right down here and always look to see, okay, if I got all these made, and when I look down through here, I've got about all of them done, except that here's one, Gerardo Ballesteros I need to do. Hagerman's in there. This lets me kind of know, hey, where am I at? Which ones do I have to do? See how deep we go. And you'll see, interestingly enough, here's Rube Marquard, a major leaguer. He's got 7 games where he played, or was it 7 innings? No, 2 games, I guess. He did right here. Pitched pretty well, right? Oh, no, he's got 1. So interestingly enough, they'll have the major leaguers that were in barnstorming or any interleague games like that. They'll be here as well. And I'm not going to create those for this file. Irv Higginbottom. So I could also come through here and go look at innings pitched. Makes it easy. Kind of work my way down the list. A lot of these I've done here. Here's a couple I need to probably build. Pop Andrews is on my list to get done, and Marlotta. So I'll work through. I'm going to get to some down here, some of these lesser players where this lets me know that I may not be able to find a picture. If there's not even a small picture already set up here for it. Big Clue. What's up, man? Glad to see you. Just talking old baseball. Yeah, you'll see. I'm going to get down to some here where I won't have good pictures. Here's one. Hub Miller. Kid Carter. 1900 to 1906. Let's take a look at it. Kid Carter. He's going to get a card. Didn't pitch a lot of games, though. We'll see what that equates to. Uh-oh. Frank Wickware. There he is right here. If you look at total inning pitch with what we've got in seam heads, he's way up there. I guess his ERA plus is dead average, huh, for his career. Terrence McDuffie. What's up, MV? Oh, MV was just testing. Hey, I was showing off the new file, MV, because, and I was getting some new players here on my list ready to go. And I can show you who I just added. I worked on some pitchers over the weekend. And then now, see, where's my file? Let's get this mess of Excel sheet. Here's a couple of guys that don't mind looking at all this under the hood stuff. I know you don't. Here's my next group right here of catchers I'm going to be building. Right here. Booker, Clark, Rodriguez, Powell. You can kind of see where I ran through a bunch of pitchers here this weekend and added all these pitchers right here. Then I grabbed a couple of shortstops, and then I thought, wait a minute, let me go start doing catchers. So when I get bored, this is what I do. Oh, cool. Bill Hoffer and Gullickson. So, yeah, I've got a few extras done. So these are the ones probably back, maybe Bill Forrest, back when I talked last week, I was probably up here in this area. And now I'm at 244. So I've got all these built right here. Some of the pitching numbers. Yeah, William Ross was my last pitcher. I just got completed. Clean up some of this, my working numbers here. So let's take a look at the file. I know you guys don't mind looking at stuff. I'll spend some time with you too. It's like the 3 of us will look at this till we get sick probably, or we won't get sick looking at it. I was showing off the 1900 to 1909, right? There just aren't as many players back then because that was during the infancy of, I guess, the pre-true Negro leagues, right? But still some good baseball. But I've got this up to 29 players now. I added Cy Heyman recently, Candido Fontanals, Salvador Rosado, and Angel de Mesa is right here. Take a look at him. Some of these are just a hair below average, right? And I'm running out of unique things that people know about this. So a lot of times it's, hey, Cuban pitcher, pitched for this club, debuted with this one, pitched for several teams, played from these years. I'm sticking true to providing the notes, but sometimes that's as dramatic as the notes get. What do we got here? Bill Monroe. I was just laughing before you guys joined here about good hitter, slick fielder, known for showboating and trash talk. Some of the players that I did, let me pull these up. I think these are the ones that, a couple that you both may know or not know. Let's look at them. Little above average, Candido Fontanals. Oh, this is perfect. Every time I do this, I get to clean up some of my commentary here. Oh, I'll see little typos in here. Okay, so we got, who else do I have on here? Salvador Rosado. Let me look at his pitching. Really good ERA plus here. This guy, when we MLE'd him and moved all the stuff over, just a really good um, Cuban pitcher. No idea who this player was before doing this. I had Ortega done. 130 ERA, so he's a lefty. And I've done some other ones in this time frame, the 1910 to 1919 group. Oh, Rats Henderson. Gotta like Rats Henderson. So good. MV is helping me out along with Arnold Hunter. I know both of them. I appreciate them playing around with the file and testing it and getting it broke in. And I told World's Worst Gamer he was going to let Beatles know, hey, no, Beatles does not have to worry about waiting for me to highlight the file on my channel. I sent Beatles Friday a file and the photo pack and told him, hey, whenever go live on your channel, you play with it, you show it off, um, anything. Well, if you know of a photo error, throw it in the chat here, MV. I'll jump on it right now. So let's see. Who do we have in here? Oh, Maderos is a fairly new pitcher that I've done. Some of these early pitchers, right? They don't play a ton. It's not like they were true two-way players, but he's got a handful of games he can play out in the field. Nothing too spectacular. Actually, it's pretty good. Oh, okay, good. Because I'm still only with two players I couldn't find photos for so far. Now I'm going to get down deeper in that list where there's probably going to be a few more I start as I get into these lesser known players. I'm going to run into that for sure. What do I got here? Take a look at the early 20s. I've added some players here. Trying to think who might stand out. Oh, here's one that I just added this morning. Dan Kennard, a catcher. Debuted with the French Lick Plutos in 1913. Never even heard of that club. The French Lick Plutos. 290 hitter. So yeah, his OPS is above average hitter as a catcher, and he's pretty average in the field. But yeah, it's not a bad player at all. Hidden jewels, as MV would call him, or under the radar. This is another fairly new player too, George Tubby Dixon, a stout catcher. Uh, Dead average, right at 100 OPS. with a 283 average, and then fielding, another pretty average. He's got a 7 arm. So these are a couple new catchers because I thought, man, I haven't built catchers in a while. Let's start cranking them out. I'm not sure how many I have on the file, but I can check right here. Let's look at, and there we go. Anybody that can play at least one game at catcher. We can scroll it by game. So that's what we're looking at right here on this file. That's the heart of our catchers so far. See Josh Gibson up there and Josh Johnson, Mike Gonzalez, who played in the major leagues as well. This is a new one I just did, Eufemio Abreu. See what we got going on with him. A below average hitter, as we can see. Not much stick. Pretty average all the way around, actually, now that I look at him. So we have a total, and here's some handful of catchers, right? But so I've only got 46 total catchers that can catch any innings, right? And really, kind of when you get up here, 25, 30 games, really halftime catchers, I've got a lot more to do. Because I'm thinking in a 24 team league, we're going to need to have at least a good 50 catchers, right? Even if you're splitting time, and probably should be about closer to 70, 75 total. Ooh, and what park you playing in, MV? That's always the fun thing with these is like, what park do we put them in for the game? And I've had so much fun creating the players. I haven't even messed with finding. I was going through there for a while with Gigapixel and really trying to figure out how to get good photos and enhancing all of that. So, okay, yeah, neutral. Good. Let's take a look at batters too. I've had some other batters with stolen bases, so we don't need any. Let's clear all the filter. And we're going to go basic batting. See what we got. Stolen bases. And there's our stolen sorted by stolen bases. So right there is 28 players with 30 or more stolen bases. Actually, if I go down, we've got 31 with 30 or more stolen bases. I know that's always appealing. Oh, the 20 to 24 squad, huh? So we have quite a few speed players here in the league. I know Beatles loves building his team around little dead ball strategy with speed on the base paths. And speaking of Oscar Charleston, there he is. Jackie Robinson and Hank Thompson will not make. Well, let's take a look at Hank Thompson. Jackie Robinson won't because he's only got 1 year. So if they need 3, and that's what we got right here, 1. So I won't have him on that file. We're talking about Hank Thompson. Other ones will. I mean, I've got Campanella on there. If they've got at least 3 years that I can get data from, uh, I'll put him in there. Well, no, Hank Thompson, he'll be in there. Adding him to the list. Every time I come on here and you're on here, I always end up with good players to put on my to-do list. So what am I pulling up here? Hank Thompson. right, let's see what we got. There we go. He's on the list. Now let's take a Luke Easter and see if he's going to qualify. No, unless I've got information for that third year, he won't qualify. It is shame. Let me see if there's anybody else. Let's take a look at third baseman. Haven't done any of those. Well, I've done shortstops here. Let me do third baseman. Career WAR. Let's look at him this way. Here's the worst. Let's do it this way. And most of these I think I've got down. There's one I'll need to do. No photograph on that one. I've got Todd Allen done, Felton Snow. There's Minnie Minoso. Oh, yeah. Minnie Minoso will be there. Stearns throws out Sandtop at second from center field, was running on Stearns' arm. Only a 6. Maybe he'll learn. So Minoso at third. See who else I've got to get excited with here. And let me take a look at significant plate appearances here. That's Ramon Bragana is just a great third baseman right here. Because he pitches. It's Jimmy Duro. I'm going to have him built. So it's just kind of interesting as I go through, and I like to kind of research what's upcoming and see what we got coming on. Here's Kid Lowe, Marlon Carter. So there's some good third basemen to get to down here. So I'm feeling really confident. If I'm getting close to 350 right now, I'm feeling pretty comfortable at getting close to 550. And I think I'm going to call that phase 1 and then take a breather. Because if we've got enough for 20 teams, that should be easy. But would there be enough for 24 draft teams? That would be the ultimate. That's kind of like my ultimate goal for phase 1. And I'm shooting for, can I get there by the end of April? So, knock on wood here as I find some wood. That's what my goal is. That's what I'm shooting for. Let's see. There's any other 550 watt. Yeah, that's what I'm shooting for. Because I think if we've got 24 and have 22 on a team, that's going to put us in the middle right there. Like 24 times 22 is going to be 528. If we've gone 24 by 25, that's 600. That would be wonderful if I could get 600. We'll see. We'll see. But anyway, hey, if we could, I'm encouraging Beatles, or when we get this league going, phase 1, we'll just kick it off and go with what we have. The main thing now is going to be going through and making sure I've got the depth I need at each position for it to be a draft league, right? Like I'm going to have to create probably some third baseman down here, but definitely I've got some work to do. We're going to need plenty of pitchers. In fact, let's pull up pitchers now and take a look. Look at innings pitched for pitchers. I've got a lot of these. I've almost everybody, I think, built on this list. Okay, Guerrero I haven't done. Echeverria I haven't done. But there's some right here, down here near the bottom. I've done Heliodoro, I've done Mirabal, Willis, Glover, Tiant, McCall, Poindexter. So one thing to get my lists a little bit neater, right? I can come down here and go 1900 to 1910. Now let's take a look at some of these. Do it by innings pitch because some of these are playing. So here's some right here. Here's a guy right here I haven't hit. Emmett Bowman, Charles Earl I've done, Medina. A lot of these I've done. So this is kind of a way to kind of search and figure out, kind of top 100 by different increments, like decade by decade, and make sure I'm getting players that need to be on this file. But you can see right down here, I'm getting into where it might only be 1-2 years where I know there's not 3 years. Here's George Wilson. I'll probably be able to, probably be enough to build him. Yep, even though it's a small sample size. Yeah, you can MV, you can record, upload, do anything you want with it. Have fun, show it off, let people watch you play with it, talk about it, critique it, feedback. Yeah, go for it. I'm hoping Beatles will do that too because that's going to help me because I just if I feel like, hey, I'm going to go play a little bit and have some fun with it. I guess I could have done that today with a game, but then I've got to set up the teams and all that. I'm like, hey, I could have built by the time I'm playing a few games, I could have built a handful of players. So it's kind of interesting to see some of these. Gatewood I've done. Kid Carter. This will be interesting as I get down here farther. So yeah, more stuff, more fun stuff to come. Yeah, it does help getting to know the players. It's kind of interesting now that you get to see them a little bit deeper. So you're talking about probably the original 20 to 24 team. Yeah, that was. This is kind of a loaded team. So you got Toriente, Heavy Johnson, Charleston on that team, and you're playing them against who's the pitchers? Yeah, and you're playing them against this one, right? 25 to 29. Yeah, hey, it looks like a pretty good matchup to me, right? Should be a good matchup with the bats there. Yeah, I'm just pulling them up now, looking at there. Yeah, it's a pretty good team. And then let's take a look at 30 to 39. That original team here, they're not too shabby either because, well, we got Josh Gibson. A lot of good bats on this one. Of course, then you got Satchel Paige. And then after I was telling everybody, I usually build them to around 40 limit. This one's got 41. Then I do a second version just to kind of fill them. And for 30 to 39, I've already got 17 players on that second one. There's so many players in the 20, so I've already up to 34 on. So that gives me what 74 total players between 25 and 29. This one's given me what 63 total between 20 and 24. And then 40 to 48, that's given me 66 between that range too. Yeah, 19, not yeah, isn't 2020s. We don't move a pitcher while he's still dealing, do we? I like that. Oh, good. Yeah, it is always fun seeing somebody else kind of test this out. Dave Barnhill, here's one that's not, I did probably in the last week or so. Impo was his name, four-time All-Star. I did not know about Barnhill, but man, he's a good pitcher too. 121 ERA plus. Who? Johnny Davis. Yeah, Cherokee Davis. Well, let me take a look. It is Johnny Cherokee Davis. Yes. Yeah, he is good in left field. Arm's not as strong. I can probably see where some of those numbers came from. If I come over here, what is it? Johnny Davis. Take a look at this. Where his range rate? Oh yeah, look at some of the number. Not probably on the years I'm losing. Look at these. These are pretty good numbers. 2.9. That 8.2 is a big year, and that's one of the years I'm using. Guaranteed, probably is 46. So that's why he's an 8 and left. Big clue. I'm imagining this file might be a reason for you to play action more. I'm just going to guess. Um, yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, like about the kind of working on this. It's almost like I've got a full-time job and other family stuff going on, but in my head when I lay down to sleep, I'm like, okay, where am I at? How many can I get done? What do I, who am I missing? And a lot of times before I'll go to sleep, I'll be on Seamhead searching for who I haven't built yet and reading a little bit about them because wait, like here's Johnny Davis. I'll come over here and read about where's he at? Maybe the other one. Sometimes I'll come in. There you go. Good bio on him and stuff like that. So I'm always researching. That's yeah. I have the same way. That's why I can't sleep. I'm already thinking about okay, who have I done? Oh, I'm at 300. And I haven't done pictures in a while. Let me get the pictures because if we're going to have a file that's for a draft league, boy, we're going to need plenty of pictures, and I'm going to have to make sure I've got so many at each position. And all these thoughts are in my head all the time. I can't get them out. Always there, always there. But yeah, Johnny Davis is a good player for sure. So yeah, I'm at. It's killing time how will we chat up some baseball here, but take a look at do all. I think it is 344 MV. I don't know if this is on my head or below. I just never know how to read um, MV because it's never enough. He's always teasing me, right? So I'm at 344 MV. Oh, let's start pulling up. Let's start looking for some players here. What does MV want to see? I think you gave me George Giles. Let's take a look at George Giles. Great gloveman with very good range, a contact hitter, and speedy runner. So he's a 141 OPS. That's very high, by the way. 324 hitter, and he's an 8 at first base. So there's a guy that I would have known nothing about. So to me, MV, if you can keep him under the radar, other people's radar, that's a steal right here. And he's a lefty. If you need a lefty in your lineup, I'm getting closer to 600. He says, "Yep, I'm getting baby steps." Castillo, there you go. 4 batting titles and led the league in doubles 7 times. 164 OPS. He's a big dude, 6'2", 220, especially for players back then. That he might as well be 6'6" in current terms. Um, 335 hitter, and just a hair below average at first base. Not known for his fielding, but he sure was known for his bat. And look at Crespo. Crespo is there. Aggressive base running skills and head first slides. 117, he's above average hitter, right? At 273. Let's take a look at fielding. Yeah, he's a little above average center and right. Yeah, who's going to remain anonymous? Big clue. All those, yeah, trying to make it's one thing to have all these projects and making progress, right? So at least I'm trying to tell myself, hey, I would love to go over as a break and create some of the MLB greats that on that file. But I'm like, let me just get this done because this we can have just a blast with this. Then I can go over and start beefing that one up. So that one's become a second priority. I did some. Let's take a look at. Oh, here's the MLB greats file. So I go back and take a look at that one. I haven't done anything in a couple weeks on this. Let's look at the database. I don't know how many I've built. So I'm looking at batters. I've got 50 built. So it's, kind of representative there. Take a look at who we've got on this one based on their best three and park neutralized. And this, all their numbers have been worked on the outside to be assigned to whatever year in park I've got them put into. Let's see what we got. There's a couple 400 hitters on their best three, even neutralized, and park factors taken into account. Hornsby. There's some big years right here, but I don't think there's any surprises up here on this list because I haven't been building any. I've been focused on some of the great players just to build. Okay, yeah, Bonnie Sorrell, you bet. Let's go back to this file. He's assigned to 1944, and there he is. Fine glove work, contact hitting, and base running. Hey, he led the league in homers in 1944. So yeah, 133 OPS, 310 hitter. He's a 7 at second baseman. Pretty much played a little bit of first, short, and right, but nice. Creasy. Oh, I haven't done Creasy yet, have I? Let's see. Who am I missing? Is there Creasy? Abe Harrison. I have not done. See what he looks like. Abe Harrison. Oh man, I have not gone pre 1900. But if I do, here's a guy that had one big year, huh? So I'm going to have to get him on there. William Henry Lincoln. Let's see. And Paul Stevens. Let's take a look, see what I got there. Yeah, I don't know Paul Stevens. Unless he goes by another first name. We got a Frank Stevens pitcher. So much more fun stuff to get into. Chappie Wood. I got a Chappie Johnson and a Chappie Gray. Chappie the Rat Johnson. Oh, there you go. Catcher. He's just making up names at this point. And then Chappie Gray, see if he's any better. No, he wouldn't qualify. But hey, we got Chappie the Rat Johnson. We can get him in there for sure. It's pretty high percentile wise. Let me see what the range numbers are. Yeah, yeah, just right a little bit above average, both offense and fielding. Look at all the teams, man, all over the place. You figure what, almost no more than what 3 or 4 seasons with Brooklyn and the rest of them. He's just 1 year, one and done, moving around. Yeah, my wife, my son's dog, his little dog. My wife calls his dog the Rat Bastard. So, um, yeah, the Rat. Oh, Paul Stevens. Let's see. Hmm, don't see him. Oh, here's Paul Stanley. Let's take a look. If I don't know if he's going to be playing, we'll have Gene Simmons at third and Paul Stanley at short. Let's see. We got a Paul Stanley. Do we have a Gene Simmons? No. I know we got an ace. I don't know if it's Ace Freely, but we've got some aces, no doubt. Oh, Horace. Yeah, check your notes there, MB. I can go pull back your sheet up one more time and take a look at it too as I build these out. But anyway, fun as usual. But I am going to take off here in a couple minutes. Just checking over here. So we'll have some fun. You know what I may do is look for some time at the end of this week, and I may come on and broadcast just a fun little game um, myself. But heck, MV, do it. And MV, if you, do you have, are you going to broadcast? Let me know. Are you starting to broadcast? Because I'll definitely tune in and watch you play test the file. Cool. Yeah, get in it. Grab some software. That's what I did. Just go for it. Okay, so what else do we have here? So I had these open. Take a look at some of these pictures that we've got. Got a lot of pictures done. It's probably the last picture that I just built here today is this guy here, William Ross. So yeah, it kind of looks a little enhanced, right? But hey, not a bad picture when you're just begging to have some window dressing for the file. And who's another one that aren't the best photos? Here's one, Brooks. I'm trying to think whether I love some of these that have like the red coloring on them that were like little cards or postcards back then. Oh, nice. Cricket MV. So if I'm looking at, let's take a look at this file and reports. See what we got here. Top salaries. These guys are being counted as pitchers over here because the Higo and Charleston also position players, but you can kind of see how the game is allocating dollars based on their line. Wow, Charlie Blackwell's up there. Bill Pettis. But you can see the game really likes, well, Charleston's being listed under a pitcher, but you can see those are the top two. Gibson at 16.6 million and then Charleston 15.8. Oh, cool. MV is going to stream. Hey, MV, do I have your, can you drop your link in here? Let me see if I have you, if I haven't gone to see videos, I probably don't have you on. Tell me what the name of it is or post a link for me and I'll go, because I'll go down here in a little bit and do my bike ride. And I always love getting on, I'll take my phone with me and there's a live YouTube stream while I'm riding. I can enjoy my ride better. Put that link in there, MV, because you'll have us over there today for sure watching that. But yeah, I'd love to see you broadcast and play some games because you. I mean, it'd be cool to see the one you had, even though they were up 11-0, right? You had some fun baseball going on. So I was mentioning a little bit earlier. I don't know if you guys had joined yet to World's Worst Gamer about I've got my PS5. So now I'm kind of, my grandkids love it, venturing into the console. Really excited to with MLB The Show and how it looks and plays. So I'm no doubt when it launches here in a few weeks, I'll be getting that. The other thing that looks great too is that I love golf is, um, oh, I just lost it. Oh, EA Sports is coming back with the Masters version and all that stuff. And it's supposed to be completely revamped, look good and all that. So who knows? I'll be a sucker for that. Playing golf on the PS5. Yeah, we could keep Beatles offline indefinitely, huh? I just haven't had a chance to join in on the chatter late because just with my schedule and stuff we've had going on, and that it's been easier for me maybe to hop on here in the which is 4:25 for me where I'm at Mountain Time. This has been easier, but then once it gets after dinner time, it's kind of hard for me to break away and get on the evening chats like I was doing before. Oh, do you want me to? Do I need to give somebody permissions to do something? Hold on a second. Let me do that. Let me give MV. Okay. You are now a managing moderator for my channel, MV. See if that'll let you pop something in. Awesome. So let's see, I might click something wrong on the chat here. I think we've got everybody here. Something went wrong. I was going to copy that link and paste it, and I hit it instead, and it messed something up. And now I can't see it. So let me go look at it this way here.
Hello everybody, this is MV. I am doing a recording of an exhibition using Dave Koch's great baseball greats in National League, and I'm going to do a matchup just to practice my calling a ball game. I don't have an American accent, so you're going to have to put up my British one. I might drop into a pseudo-American accent as I go along.
Awesome.
Hello
So now
everybody, this is MV. I am doing
MV, just to let you know, I hopped over, found your channel. So I'm going to close this one up, head down, go do my bike ride, and I'm going to be over there listening to MV do his stuff. So looking forward to that. But appreciate everybody just chatting some project baseball with me here. And as MV says, hey, I'm getting closer to the 600, so I got to get back to work. I don't get too many breaks, but 344 is the count. MV's got a file, and he's having some fun testing it out. So I'm looking forward to seeing him do that. Hopefully, Beatles will crank it out here in the coming weeks or whatever, and have some fun with it as well. And always inspirational to see people and enjoy it, because then it makes me even more motivated to keep cranking out players. So we will see you down the road. And anybody that's joining or listening, hop on over to MV's and let's watch him play some baseball.